What is up, guys, and welcome to your no-nonsense guide on how to play Squirrel Girl in Marvel Rivals. As usual, we'll go over a kit and then we'll go over how I would play her in a normal game. Starting us off, we have a Burst Acorn, which is an arced projectile that generates a spell field upon impact. It is an 80 meters per second projectile speed attack with a 3 meter spherical radius. Does 110 damage, however has a 70% fall off on the damage at 3 meters onwards. You can fire 1.49 acorns per second. You get 10 acorns, however it doesn't do any critical hits. We then have a Squirrel Blockade, which is launching an acorn at an enemy, and the first person it hits, it imprisons them, as a 1.5 second charge time with a projectile speed of 20 to 60 meters a second, dependent on the charge. It does 35 damage and imprisons the enemy for 1.33 seconds, and has a cooldown of 8 seconds. Mammal Bond is Squirrel Girl's next ability, where she can reload her burst acorns and can use an ability without cooldown once in a short duration. Has a maximum duration of 5 seconds and a cooldown of 12 seconds. The description isn't the best here, so just to reiterate, it pretty much gives you the ability to reload your acorns or give you back your tail bounce quicker, and then when you then pop the ability, it will have the original cooldown duration. So if you had 1 second left and you used your Mammal Bond, it would then let you use the ability and then it would go back to having 1 second cooldown again. As shown in the last ability as well, we have Tail Bounce, which allows her to rocket upwards with a bounce of her tail. It has a 9 meter jump height and a cooldown of 8 seconds. The cool thing about this ability is you don't actually need a hard service to tail bounce. You can just do a double jump like shown here. Her final ability is Unbeatable Squirrel Tsunami. Summon a horde of squirrels to charge forward, dealing damage while bouncing against structures. Has a 10-second duration, and the range is a 3 meter length by 5 meter width by 1.75 meter height. Does 150 damage when you get hit by them, and the squirrel horde has 600 health, so it can be destroyed. The squirrel horde's movement speed is 15 meters per second. Squirrel Girl has a nice easy team up with Spider-Man called Webbed Acorn, which allows her to throw a projectile which stuns a person for 1 second and does 80 damage. It also has a 20-second cooldown as well. So my tips for playing Squirrel Girl: I understand she's not the highest of pick rates when it comes to playing her, and the reason why that is normally the misunderstanding that she's not very strong. Yes, she's not as strong as the other heroes in the roster, however, when used properly, she can be quite lethal. So my first tip is making sure you know what fights to take. Obviously she's a ranged hero, however, as mentioned in the abilities bit, you get 110 damage per hit within 3 meters. So she can do a lot of damage against most of the tanks and everyone pretty much. So you want to be taking fights close up and long range to make sure that you're doing as much damage as possible. She has 10 shots, and you then have your E to reload them quickly. So you could take 20 shots in a short amount of time, and then you can then get away, go and heal up, and start again. So definitely make sure that you're playing long and short range fights. My next tip would be making sure that you also play within choke points. Because of her explosive damage, she can pretty much hit multiple people at once with her shots, and also using her stampede as well of the Squirrel Tsunami. That in a choke point will make sure that you get as much damage worth out of it as possible. So if you can get people in a choke point and then start spamming in shots, again you have 20 shots that you can then spam in and shoot at multiple enemies and take out as many people as possible. I would also say make sure that you're leading your shots as well. May not be a term that you guys have heard if you haven't played a team fighter, but if you have, awesome, is leading your shots. She's not a hit scam, so that means she can't click and then hit the target immediately like, say, Hela. She needs a bit of lead time, so if a character is running from left to right, you need to make sure that you're shooting just ahead of them, because it means then that they're going to run into your shot because of the arc. So make sure you're playing in choke points with her, and make sure you're also leading your shots. Making sure that you use your Squirrel Blockade, your right click, to be able to escape. That would be my next tip. It's not the longest of durations. It's not like the other stuns. It's not like Penny Parker's. It's not like Spider-Man's. It's not like Hulk's. It's more of an escape tactic, I would personally say. I try to use it as much as possible. However, if you're taking a fight where you know you're probably not going to win, I would personally say hit the enemy with the Squirrel blockade, and then get out there with your tail bounce. Don't try and take the fight continuously. Maybe if you're fighting a Vanguard, again, they're probably going to have a lot more health, and 110 damage, yes, is good, but when they've got 800 health, it's going to take you a lot of shots at that range, and they're going to be doing a lot of damage to try and kill you. They're not just going to let you fire at them. So I'd use your Squirrel blockade and your tail bounce as an evasive maneuver to try and get out of fights when you know that you need to go and heal up. And those are my tips and tricks on how to play Squirrel Girl in Marvel Rivals. What do you think? Are there any other tips or tricks that you could recommend to the community that I've missed, or do you feel I've covered most of the bases? If you do think that, drop us down a comment below, and if you want to see any particular heroes be done as well, please make sure you drop me down a comment and I will get on it as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you drop it a like, and if you want to see more Marvel Rivals content, please make sure you drop a subscribe as well. It helps out massively. Other than that, thank you very much for watching.